know you know. You've seen it, experienced it, affected by it. Of course, it's hard. But this is an invitation to change it, to bounce back, to feel the inspiration. Masyado ka nang apektado para tumigil pa. Ngayon, oras na para sa mas mataas na antas ng pagbabalik at pagbabago. The hashtag business as usual. Oo naman, aangat ka, aangat tayo. The 58th PMAP Annual Conference. Angat, leading people to higher ground. Be the soul of change. Be the pusher of encouragement. Be the fuel of moving forward. Angat, leading people to higher ground. The 58th PMAP Annual Conference. Dahil mas personal na ang trabaho ngayon.
Magandang hapon sa lahat. Maayong hapon sa mga Bisaya, maupay nga kulop sa mga Waray, marhaing hapon sa mga Bicolano. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to People Manager on Cam, the online show of the People Management Association of the Philippines, the premier organization of HR and business leaders in the country. Thank you so much. Maraming salamat for always supporting PMAP and the online show since it started last year. Past President Barbie, Sir Boris, and the professional staff of PMAP demonstrated resilience and agility when they jumped out of our paper magazine and pivoted online. The pandemic last year brought out the skills and the talents of the Communications Committee, and congratulations to the committee for winning the Committee of the Year together with Leadcom. And so here we are now, 2021. Ang bilis ng panahon. Next week is February now. And this is going to be an exciting year for us. For 2021, we will bring PMAP to hashtag higher ground. And so we have revamped this 1-hour show, and we will be together for until 3 o'clock. There will be 4 segments following the acronym of PMAP. For P, it's People Watch, a segment that highlights our peers, our colleagues, coaches, and mentors. Of course, promising and upcoming talents. You would have, your potentials, your high potentials, and we would love to feature them. They inspire us to pay forward the goodness, and of course, we will highlight all the blessings and the breakthroughs through these people. And then M is the second segment is the must. It's telling us not to miss the big shifts, current issues, key learning applications. We will invite speakers and experts who will share with us insights and their expertise on key issues that we have to talk about. And then the A is anticipate these things, events, innovations, discoveries, and breakthroughs that we all need to look forward to. And as we anticipate on something that is not yet within our hands, it's very important to take care of our hearts, which brings us to our 4th segment, Perk Your Heart. Be excited with health and wellness. We'll share lifestyle tips, and also, of course, grooming and fashion, leisure and habits, discounts and great buys. Through Perk Your Heart, we will get to know who among our HR leaders are the fantitas and fantitas, who sings, who dance. So that is what we have prepared for you. My name is Joanne. I am your board of trustee for 2021, and I am your host for today. As we settle down, I would love to mention we have segment hosts coming from all over the country, from Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. And as early as now, I want to acknowledge the committee and the people behind this online program, the PMAP Branding, Marketing, and Communications Committee members. Yours truly, one of PMAP's Board of Trustees. And then we have Jovenir Bataycan, the Editor-in-Chief of the People Manager magazine. And we have our segment hosts for our premiere episode, Gilbert Gatdula, Jacqueline Lui, and Cecil Carlos. We also have our super CPOG, the technical team, very creative technical team, helping us behind this show, Maki Cordero, Jeffrey Palma, and Sarah Nigvas. Thank you so much, team. You've done a fantastic job. So let's get started. It's just an hour. We have jumped back this show. Let's get to our first segment, People Watch. Let us get to know our BOTs, our leaders for this month. We will meet our new board of trustees, and let's welcome our segment host, the senior manager for TQM for Dusit Thani Hotel, Gilbert Gatdula. Gilbert, over to you.
Hi, Joanne. I love the energy, and I'm sure our viewers right now are equally excited about the fun facts of our leaders. I'm sure you are well aware that they are not just knowledgeable, skillful, talagang napakagaling nito, but this time I will be introducing to you our PMAP leaders for 2021. Uumpisahan ko na po yan sa ating President for 2021, Miss Angelina Mukhi or Lynn. Miss Lynn is actually a certified plantita. Yan yung sinasabi ni Miss Joanne kanina. At a young age, she knows how to plant bananas, pechay, and even bananas, di ba? Talagang sabi ko, siya talaga ang certified plantita. And even before the pronouncement of the community quarantine, she already knows how to cut the hair and how to sew or papaano magtahi, di ba? So life hacks yan na ating president lang ang nakakaalam. Moving on to our next person, our vice president, Miss Ellen Folido. Miss Ellen is actually an engineer by education, but an HR professional by vocation. So grabe ang calling. Medyo magkalayo pero when talagang ikaw ay pag na-introduce ka sa calling mo, you will really do wonders. And that's Miss Ellen Folido. She is also the jury for best tourism practices and festivals around the country. Nako, so parang same industry pala kami ni Miss Ellen, and I will get in touch with her for more details. Moving on to our next leader, we have Miss Maria Paz Vidal Malubay, who happens to be a singer pala. She loves to sing and she likes to take care of plants. Next up, we have Mr. Mark Hernandez, our treasurer. Mr. Mark Hernandez is both sporty and heroic. Bakit kaya? Sporty because he is actively participating in triathlon and he is the grandson lang naman of the brains of Katipunan, General Emilio Jacinto. So let's take a while to check the picture kasi talagang poging-pogi din ang ating mga leaders dito sa PMAP and the bloodline is premier. Next up, I will be introducing to you our Board of Trustees, starting with Miss Maria Elizabeth Nasol. Miss Beth loves to plant different kinds of trees. So hashtag save the earth and hashtag oxygen. And she supports community of priests. Talaga namang purposeful ang mga activities ng ating leaders. Next up, we have Miss Hilda Cardenas. Miss Hilda is the only female among her siblings. And she likes sketching using pencil, and her usual subjects are people and nature. Talented, di ba? That's Miss Hilda Cardenas for you. Moving on, we have Mr. Eric Del Castillo. Mr. Eric Del Castillo had an interesting childhood because he spent it on two countries. First is in Palau, Micronesia, and the second one is in Papua New Guinea. So to the nations and global din pala ang ating mga leaders. But don't fret, Mr. Eric Del Castillo is currently situated here in the Philippines. And just like Mr. Mark Hernandez, he has a bloodline. He is part of the Edrelin and Aguinaldo clan, the two Philippine presidents. Leveling, di ba? Si Mr. Eric Del Castillo. Next up, we have Miss Jocelyn Pick. Miss Jocelyn is an explorer, traveler, risk taker, and a cancer survivor. She would actually love to travel outer space with Elon Musk and Richard Branson. Grabe. Grabe ang aspirations and goals ng ating mga leaders. And who knows, di ba? We're just an imagination away from our dream. Yan po si Miss Jocelyn. Next, we have Miss Luningning Adolfo, or Ning, as she is fondly called. She likes to collect vintage stuff. So these things are owned previously by her relatives. Mukhang nostalgic ng konti si Miss Ning Adolfo. And growing up, would you believe that instead of an asong Pinoy, they have a monkey as their guard dog? Grabe. Monkey as a guard dog, di ba? Leveling din. Interesting. Next, we have Miss Virginia Mendoza. Miss Virginia is adventurous and risk taker. At ito, isa sa mga skills na na-develop ng karamihan sa atin during the quarantine is the diamond art painting. So she's already a pro in terms of diamond art painting. Next up is our beautiful host for this afternoon, Joanne Rosary Asetre. She is a true blue waray. Grabe. And she loves to ballroom dance. Okay? So hindi ko lang alam kung makikita natin for this show or in the upcoming shows this talent, but I am very convinced that our leaders are very much talented. So Miss Joanne, aabangan namin yan later. Next up, we have Miss Maricor Militante. Miss Maricor is a spiritual director and retreat guide, and she loves to do Bikram yoga, cycling, and nature walking. So hashtag Year of Calm pala itong si Miss Maricor. Babanding kami niyan ni Miss Maricor. Next up, we have Miss Maria Consuelo Reyes. She collects various kinds of crystals. And when she goes to the beach, she makes sure that she brings home stones so that she would remember how fond the memories are. Napaka-sentimental, di ba? Next, we have Mr. Michael Godinez. Mr. Michael Godinez is the ultimate fur daddy. Dahil hindi lang isa, not just two, and not just three dogs, he is a fur father to 7 dogs. Grabe. And he has named his dogs sa mga favorite chocolates niya. Interesting, right? And he says that he dances when no one is watching. Naku, i-unleash na natin yung mga talents ng ating PMAP leaders. So that's Mr. Michael Godinez for you. Our trustee for Luzon is Mr. Ronald Lapus. Mr. Ronald Lapus loves to do gardening and counseling. And in his free time, he is so workaholic. He loves to write instructional materials for training and development. So I will be approaching Mr. Ronald Lapus for any learning and development needs. Next up, trustee for Visayas, we have Maria Louie Homero. Miss Maria Louie plays the volleyball until this day to keep herself fit and fat. And she makes delicious homemade corned beef. O, diba? Talagang multi-talented and multi-skilled ang ating mga leaders. And completing our board of trustees is Miss Marisol Q. Miss Marisol loves to dance traditional Filipino moves to modern hip-hop. Grabe ang mixture ng dances from a traditional one to a new generation dance step. So that's very interesting. And she considers herself as the family clown. And she wants to creatively cook dishes. So I'm very, very excited, and I share this excitement with you guys because we have amazing sets of leaders and fun facts that you can refer to during this time na tayo ay bumabangon muli from this pandemic. We will get to know more about the projects of PMAP, but in the meantime, I will be turning over the floor to our beautiful host for this afternoon, Miss Joanne. Joanne, back to you.
Thank you so much, Gilbert. It was nice to know a little more intimately our leaders for
Yeah.
2021. Nagtatahi pala si Ma'am Lynn. I did not know that.
Kaya nga, alam mo ba, Joanne, the closest memory I have sa pagtatahi ay cross-stitch pa nung high school for my home economics subject. So I might do a mentoring session with Miss Lynn Buki about sewing.
Ako rin, sama ko sa'yo. Magpa-tutor tayo kay Ma'am Lynn.
Papa-mentor tayo.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Gilbert. So nice to know that our leaders are really well-rounded and they know a lot. Alam na natin ngayon, when we meet in person, sinong sasayaw, sinong kakanta, at sino din ang magluluto. So thank you so much, Gilbert. This time, we will go to our key focus for this episode, our next segment, the must, where we will talk about current issues. And for our episode today, we will talk about this pressing concern that is in everyone's mind, the COVID-19 vaccine. Ang daming agam-agam, ang daming tanong, ang daming gumugulo sa isip natin. We read a lot, we hear a lot about this COVID vaccine, and we will use the next 30 minutes of our show to shed some light on the efficacy and the effectiveness of the vaccines that we read about in the news. We are blessed because we have two experts who will answer our questions on this very important matter. But before I introduce them to you, I would like to invite you to post your questions or comments in the chat, in the comment section, Facebook or wherever you are, or YouTube. Do send in if you have any questions, and we would love to, share it with our guests so they can answer that. Let's start with our first guest. I will introduce our first guest, Dr. Lulu Bravo. She's the professor emeritus from the College of Medicine, University of the Philippines, Manila. She's the former vice chancellor for research and executive director, National Institute of Health, University of the Philippines, Manila. She's the president of the Immunization Partners in Asia Pacific, or IPAP, executive director and founding president, Philippine Foundation for Vaccination. Friends, let's welcome to the show Dr. Lulu Bravo. And I will proceed to introduce our next guest right away. Dr. K. Recto is an MBA, nabubulol, graduate from the Ateneo School of Medicine and Public Health. Well, she is a medical doctor by training. K wears both her medical and MBA hats constantly because she's part of the strategy and external affairs team of Ayala Healthcare, or AC Health, over the past 3 years. In light of the past year's pandemic or COVID crisis, she and her team have been leading AC Health's COVID-19 initiatives within and outside the Ayala Group. Friends, let us welcome to the show Dr. K. Recto. Thank you so much, Dr. Recto and Dr. Bravo, for joining us this afternoon. We are so honored you are with us. And thank you, because you would help us understand more about this COVID-19 vaccine. Because we only have 30 minutes, let's get right into it. And I invite Dr. Bravo to answer us first, and then of course Dr. Recto, that the global issue on managing COVID-19 pandemic has opened doors for I think 100 pharmaceutical companies, and the race to develop the vaccine has spurred so many questions. Some questions, I think for me at least, I have a lot of questions that I don't know if I'm getting the right answers. Can you tell us more about how this vaccine is developed, and what do we mean by clinical trials? Dr. Bravo?
Okay, that question alone will need one whole day, Joanne. Clinical
Wow!
trials are done on drugs and vaccines. As you said, are 200 vaccines under development by different companies, not 100 companies, but 200 vaccines are under development. About 150 of them are still on the preclinical phase, meaning it's on the animals, it's in the lab, and about 50 to 60 are on human trials. And for every 20 vaccine under development, it is expected that only one may be able to make it to the commercial. And this is only for those with human trials already, because it needs to be done with checking on the safety concern at each step of the way. And based on what the animal studies are, many of them will be thrown out before it gets into the clinical and human trials. And during the human trials, as I said, there are about 50 to 60. And right now, there are about, let me see, for emergency use authorization, there's the two are given in the UK, that's the mRNA vaccine and the Astra vaccine. And in US, it's both the mRNA and the Moderna vaccine, the Pfizer vaccine, and also I think the Astra vaccine is on the pipeline. For the other countries, like Russia and China, they have actually given licensure for emergency use for the China vaccine and the Russian vaccine. But let me be clear. When you say emergency use, it doesn't mean that it is for commercial use and you can buy it when you wish. Because when you say emergency use, it means only a government to government purchase for countries, and you cannot just want to buy it if you want it. And besides, with 7 billion population in the world needing the vaccine, and there will only be about 1 billion to at most 2 billion a year that will be manufactured every year, the big scramble is on, and the competition to get the vaccine is really on. The Philippines, unfortunately, not being a rich country, are in the bottom line of the list of those who will be given the vaccine. So with that, that's only a kind of scratching the surface.
Thank you so much, Dr. Bravo. And I think we should invite you again. We would love to talk more about this, given it's really a very important topic nowadays. But I'd like to go back a few sentences when you said about trials, and I would just like to ask, because I read about in the papers, in the news, about vaccine efficacy and effectiveness. I'd like to go to Dr. K. Rector. Dr. K, what is the difference between the two when we say vaccine efficacy and effectiveness?
Thank you, Joanne, and hi again, Dr. Bravo, and to everyone who's here in the call. I guess in very, very simple terms, we'll start off with efficacy. With efficacy, it's being able to see if a vaccine is able to reduce the chances, or the chances of somebody getting the disease amongst a total population of people who are already vaccinated versus another group who did not get vaccinated. But the main difference between efficacy and effectiveness, however, is that in efficacy, it's still under controlled conditions. Kumbaga, nasa laboratorio pa. Things are standardized. The population is typically a healthy population. So you're really able to see and monitor the effect of the vaccine being tested itself. But in effectiveness, that's when you throw the vaccine in the real world setting already, where there's so many other factors, the population, some of them are healthy, some of them have other illnesses, underlying conditions. So that will be the main difference between efficacy and effectiveness.
I see. I see. Thank you so much, Dr. K. It's important for us to have an understanding of that. Having said that, no, Dr. Bravo, if we are going to choose a certain vaccine, what should be the standard then? How do we know that a certain vaccine will work for certain types of people? So especially now that our HR leaders are working in the organization trying to determine. There are some companies who have started to decide that they will provide the vaccine for their employees. With that decision, what should be our standard? What should be our guide in choosing a certain vaccine? Dr. Bravo?
Actually, Joanne, that's a very difficult question to answer. And even I myself will not be able to decide, should you be given all the array of vaccines, which one will you choose? In fact, we can debate all night long on which one will be the best for you. And you can have all the experts saying this or this one is more advantageous than the other. Because in the long run, you will have to look at all the clinical trials that have been done on this vaccine. Clinical trials are not the same for every vaccine that you will get. Dr. K mentioned about efficacy being done in a kind of controlled environment where you know what your population would be, the age at which you're going to give it. Are you going to give it in young people or in elderly people? In those with heart diseases or diabetes, or in those who are healthy? So you cannot just compare one efficacy number to another until such time as a scientist or someone who have gone through these clinical trials. You will need to really look at the different details of the clinical trial. And not just because something is 95 and something is 78 that you will say, okay, 95 is good, I will take it. No way. Because you will have to go through a lot of factors. For example, stability of the vaccine. Okay, let's not talk about safety and efficacy because that's really more like, as I said, clinical trial and scientific. But let's look at the more simple ones like temperature control. We want a vaccine that will be easily deliverable, meaning to say you don't need a minus 70, an ultra low temperature that at one moment when you deliver it could go wrong because you don't have the necessary storage facilities nor the way that it will be delivered or the way that you will be uh, using it is also difficult. For example, you will need a multiple dose, like 10 doses, versus one that is just simply 1 or 2 doses. Because the way that you will have to give it is will be prone to some contamination if there are multiple doses. Or the way that you will want the vaccine to be stored in a big area because we might not have those exact facilities. So it's not easy, and that is the reason why the government has come up with a bevy of experts. And
Mm.
our goal is always, and this is my message to each and every one. I've done so many talks, and I never say no to any talk that will inform people of the right information because my message is always listen to the experts. We
Mm.
know how difficult it is with all the misinformation, with all the disinformation, which is worse, and all
Yeah.
the fake news, and all the controversies, and all the conspiracy theories, and everybody coming in to say something. Sometimes it's difficult to say, get the wheat from the grain or something like that. It needs a vigilance. It needs some form of discrimination. And so we have to listen to the experts. And now I am so happy to say that our Department of Health in the last 1 year have really come up with a whole group of experts. And so when you come out and talk to us, or well, I'm one of those members. There are about almost, I would say about 80 of them now, which used to be just, in the academe, in business, or in science and everything else. Now there's a whole bevy of them coming in and working together and really helping our people, our government, to come up with a good vaccine for us. So listen to the experts.
Yeah,
That's
actually,
exactly what I was gonna say, Joanne. Sorry, that
go ahead,
there
Dr. K, go ahead.
there's no straightforward answer, and really, there are a lot of factors that play into deciding what what is the right vaccine for us, and that's why it's important we look to our FDA, to our DOH, in being able to look into all of these factors. It's not even just on an individual level. Now, is this safe and effective, which I'm sure is the baseline question we all have, but
Yes.
all the other parameters, diba? I mean, it's being able to bring in the vaccine, store it properly so that under that controlled condition, the vaccine is kept effective
Mhm.
in being able to distribute it. But I guess on a personal level and for the benefit of the people here, it's really the safety and efficacy of the medicine that we're looking into, and that's why I think much of the reports today, is really all about that efficacy number under a certain condition, and also understanding the profiles of how these clinical trials were done. I guess I don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but the vaccines today for COVID are still specific to adults. Unfortunately, right now there's still limited information on how vaccines can be effective for children. So that's an important thing to factor also. What are clinical trials focused on today? It's still the general population, perhaps those immunocompromised and maybe essential workers as well. And that's why we will need to factor that into who will get the vaccine first, later on amongst ourselves.
Wow, okay. Thank you so much for that. To be honest, ako mismo, sometimes I just avoid na from reading anything because
Oo,
I said,
madami talaga. Oo.
Oh, it's ang dami tas and I agree with Dr. Bravo, misinformation and sometimes I doubt myself na rin, am I going to the right source, no? So and there's one comment here, the best takeaway is in discriminating, and I invite all our viewers to do send in your question. If you have any questions, let us know. And we have the experts here, Dr. Recto and Dr. Bravo, sharing their insights about this very important because a lot of business leaders are really coming together now and discussing how they can provide for the employees. Because at the end of the day, the business leaders are also really finding ways how they can revive the businesses that has been very badly affected by the pandemic. So we're not talking about how can we revive, and of course, one of the ways is really can we, have access to the vaccine. And I love that Dr. Bravo mentioned about accessing the right information, going to the right source. Having said that, how what do you suggest now that HR and business leaders are really have these questions now about what do we do? How can we support our employees? How can we, make sure that we are protected? What do you suggest for them to do at this point in time?
I guess we have to look into the rollout of the vaccine and really study what the government has done for the rollout. Because, as you said, the business sector is really trying to open up our economy. There is really a great way for us to work together because as emergency use authorization, it's only government to government. And the private sector, I know how difficult it is to sometimes understand that you cannot just get the vaccine like right and left. Although I'm sure a lot of companies have attempted that. I'm sure there have been many requests that the companies, those who have the money will get it. But the government has come up with plans of having prioritization. Who are the most vulnerable? And that has been the frontliners for the Philippines. If you look at the e-learning in the DOH, it is there. The frontliners are the ones that are in the priority area level 1 because we all know that if the frontliners who are at highest risk of being exposed and dying, who will take care of the rest? And we know that these vaccines will not come in like, okay, we need 70 million people to be vaccinated. When can you get those 70 million to be vaccinated? It could be over 2 to 5 years. Right now, even the US are having difficulties getting their own vaccine, and they are actually the highest number of vaccinees right now. But it is important that we work together. And for companies, I think there is a tripartite. Yes, the companies have been given some sort of a leeway. Maybe you are going to donate. I heard that from Ayala. You're going to give the 50% and then you get 50% for your employees. But remember that there has to be a way of harmonizing this with the general prioritization. Because otherwise, yung sinasabi natin, magkakanya-kanya tayo, it's gonna be chaotic. Because the vaccine will come in trickles. It's not gonna be given to you in a silver platter. Everybody now is really scrumping for whatever we can get. And we don't know how many that would be. So
Yeah.
this is really a lesson in harmonization, integration, and helping one another and supporting each other. Because otherwise, we're doomed. We
Yeah.
may not be able to survive this pandemic.
Thank you, Dr.
Over to
Bravo.
you, Kay,
I think
or
that's a good thing that he
Ayala.
called out. I think that's a good thing that he called out, Dr. Bravo. I think um, if you can say that the silver lining of this COVID-19 pandemic has really allowed for public and private sector to really work together in being able to provide not just access before to more testing facilities, but now access to vaccines. And you're right, Ayala is doing its best to be able to support the government in being able to aid in accessibility to more vaccines. No, and I guess for the benefit of the people who are in this call, although we also look to ourselves and also to our taking care of our employees and our teams and being able to protect them and trying to revive our business as soon as we can, despite this new normal that we're adjusting to. But Dr. Bravo is correct. It's also being able to align ourselves with the government. So I guess as a discipline to ourselves, it will be good to follow also the prioritization that the government is trying to do. So even in our own companies in the private setting, we do have our own circle of essential or frontline workers that are continuously reporting to work every day and that we'd like to prioritize. And unfortunately, I don't think the supply of vaccines will be enough for all of us at an instant. And that's why it's important for us to discriminate and be able to prioritize who will get access to it first. And then at the same time, also do not scrimp on the measures in being able to protect the workplace until today. So even if you're vaccinated already, it's important for us to continue advising our teams to imbibe the practices of social distancing, wearing of a mask, washing of hands. Hindi pa yun mawawala. The vaccine is not a one-time solution to protect us from all. So good for us to always promote that also in the workplace.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Bravo and Dr. Recto. I would just like to go very, very great points, and I will get back to that a little later. I would just like to recognize some comments here that we have. We have one from Ms. Maricor Militante. May we be enlightened on the risk of allergic reactions from the vaccine, please? So anyone who would like to answer that?
Well, as a vaccine trialist, this is always what you do in a clinical trial. We always have to observe what happens after a vaccination. And it usually lasts for like the first 30 minutes after vaccination. That's when a severe allergic reaction can come in, what we call anaphylactic shock. And you must be always prepared for that because it can happen 1 in a million. But mind you, it's not only in vaccines that it can happen. Even antibiotics that are being injected to people, like penicillin. Do you know how many have died just from penicillin injection alone in the past, like say, 50 years of penicillin? And not just penicillin. Many antibiotics can also do that. Even dyes from x-rays. Even some sort of, even aspirin, some of these antibiotics, anti-inflammatory. So, you have to be careful the first 30 minutes to 1 hour. And that's the reason why we need to be able to use trained vaccinator. You do not inject yourself, or you do not use, as we have heard before, some PSGs, saying that they injected themselves. That is really, truly unbelievable and actually not recommended. That you just do whatever you please, because you need vaccinators who will be able to screen out those who need to be vaccinated. You have to screen. You cannot just inject everyone else. And of course, that will need some vaccinology essential knowledge, because not everyone, even doctors, will be adept or will be very knowledgeable about vaccination. It is something that you don't really take up so much in medical school. And because Kay is younger, maybe she can tell me whether in medical school they talked about immunology in relation to vaccinology. Because since time immemorial, that has not been a very, very well discussed subject in medical school.
So happy to share, Doc, that I think that we have included in our curriculum. We did study it, at least in basics of pharmacology and immunology. So there is some degree of appreciation already that not everyone can administer a vaccine, no matter how simple it looks. The good thing is that in clinical trials, as Dr. Bravo said, adverse reactions are being monitored, and that's why you don't see allergic reactions. Allergic reactions and adverse reactions are being monitored, and that's why it's good. It's good for us to appreciate that with usual vaccines, you don't see these allergic reactions happening left and right. But nevertheless, it's still possible. And that's why it's important that the vaccines are administered at the appropriate settings and also done by the appropriate health professionals. It cannot just be to Dr. Bravo's terms, any PSG or any layman administering it, because you'll need to be able to address it just in case there is an anaphylactic shock that happens, and you'll need to rush that person to an emergency facility, for example.
Wow, thank you so much for this very informative discussion. We also have here in the comment, Mr. Bong Ostero said that some experts say the mRNA vaccine makes the body work harder. since it does not limit the number of antibodies, and then thus mRNA vaccines are not advisable for older people and those with complications. So I think it goes back to what we said, what we discussed earlier. We have to really be careful. We have to read more, study more, and consult the experts, right? So I guess that's the key message there. Just to wrap it up, what
Ah,
I'm
you're
hearing here,
fast.
ma'am, yeah, so fast. But Dr. Bravo, and of course also Dr. Recto. Now we're going to the end of our segment. Any reminders, a message to our viewers as we continue to determine our best course of action in relation to COVID and the vaccination? Dr. Recto or Dr. Bravo, who would like to start first?
Kay first. I'll follow you.
Sure, but I think I guess I started my messaging already early. Na it's although there's so much progress right now with the vaccine development, and we do look forward to having this vaccine already in our own country and being able to get our essential workers and even our most vulnerable population already vaccinated. Nevertheless, I think the general guidance is that people should continue with the practices of social distancing, wearing of masks, um, being able to address proper workplace conditions so that people can be protected continuously from this. And to just be vigilant also in being able to monitor what's happening in the news and according to the right sources, to what Dr. Bravo was also speaking to. So we should stay informed. I don't think this is a time for us to, just I guess shy away from all of this information. It's just important to handpick where we should get it from, because we should be smart about our choices, especially because we're handling more than just ourselves now, but our teams at work.
Right, right. Thank you, Dr. Recto. Dr. Bravo?
Yeah, following Kate, the reason I wanted to be following her is because I guess everything she said, I agree. But the thing is, you must remember there are many, many unanswered questions at the moment, and what may be right now may be completely wrong tomorrow or the next week or the next month. We are
Yes.
only in the early stages of vaccination, and every day there are news coming in from different parts of the world about vaccine. So you have to be, as I said, vigilant, and don't share news that may not be true, or worse, that may compromise our vaccine confidence. I've been working on vaccination for the majority of my life, and I'm 71 years old, and I have done a lot of vaccine trials in my 35 years of professional life. It has been a very important, complex activity. The unanswered question right now that we have to wait is how long the immunity will last, what are the rare adverse events that might come in any moment, what are the different rules for vaccine failure, because not all vaccinated will actually be protected. We know what are the risks for vaccine failure. Is it because your environment is so hot, your thermal stability, as I said? No one knows. And of course, how do we know whether it can really prevent transmission? Your efficacy does not say that you can prevent transmission. That's the reason why you need your mask and your washing and your public minimum standards. And last but not least, and I enjoin you to share with us anything we can do to improve and overcome this distrust that has been upon us since the last 3 years, where we lost vaccine confidence so much because of the fiasco that came in 3 years ago. I'm still hoping that everyone will really come out and help the government and help the vaccine advocates and help all the vaccine experts to really restore, build, sustain vaccine confidence so we will prevail and not be doomed. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Recto and Dr. Bravo. We really, really appreciate you coming to our show, and we hope we can invite you again next time. Thank you so much. So that was a very wonderful discussion. I really appreciate all the facts, all the insights, and also, of course, I heard two things. One is that we all have to come together. We all have to help each other. We are still in the very early stages. So therefore, everybody, we all have to be vigilant of the information. And we also have to look at the big picture. This is not the time to focus on ourselves, but really help the society, help the community, and help the country find the best ways on how we can all move forward together. Of course, observing the right protocols, safety, and wearing our mask properly, and also, of course, making sure that we only go out when it's really important, and also, of course, following what the government is saying. Thank you again, Dr. Bravo and Dr. Recto. And it was really very informative. We were all caught by surprise. And so we hope that through our PMAP resources, our PMAP show, we would be able to educate and partner with our HR leaders on this very important matter that we are all facing right now. At this time, we will move to our next segment. The third letter in the acronym PMAP, A for anticipate this. I will pass you to our next segment host, the 2013 president of the Davao chapter. She's a very busy lady, associate consultant for interview consultancy, partner consultant for InfoSoft Consulting, and the founder of Movimentum Leadership and Management Consultancy, Jacqueline Louie. Over to you, Jackie.
Daghang salamat, Trusty Joe. Mayong hapon, PMAPers Philippines and the world. Continuous learning is indeed exciting. Learning helps us discriminate true from false. And we-ness, or being one, is the most important arm against World War Z or in any global crisis, especially with this unprecedented one. W paired with E is meaningful and powerful than reading it in isolation. As we dive deeper into these new learning experiences while taking a momentum to rise above, rebuild, and pivot with reflective learning and winning milestones and successes, let's hear the heart of our very own 2021 PMAP President, Lynn Muki.
Hello, everyone. It's my joy to be with you here today at People Manager on Cam. Isn't this fun that we can get together like this in the midst of a global pandemic? We can give each other hope and inspiration. I'm Lynn Muki, 2021 President of the People Management Association of the Philippines, the premier association of people managers nationwide. Congratulations, Joanne Rosary Acetre and Jovin Bataycan, for putting together this first episode of People Manager on Cam, designed to bring hope, inspiration, learning, and growth to all our listeners and viewers. And that's what PMAP is about. We exist to advance sound people management practices that will uplift people, create a better workplace, nurture humanity, and simply give you that inspiration that as we move forward together, we will be able to rise above our challenges, find ourselves able to transcend the limitations of a crisis, and prove ourselves resilient, capable of developing the fullest of our potentials in whatever situation we find ourselves in. It's my honor to lead the PMAP Association this 2021.
Thank you, President Lin. During this time where everything seems accelerated along with digital transformation and disruptions, one very compelling competency to thrive is anticipation. Game changers have this. They anticipate where the ball is going. In business, they anticipate the behavior of the market. In our local focus, we anticipate what's the need of our customers. People Manager Uncom segment Anticipate This brings you trends and breakthroughs. Isn't this exciting? Anticipating is key secret to thriving. To begin with these exciting learning experiences, we bring you to what you can anticipate for as we glow with the flow of transformation, recreation, and uplifting of people, organization, and the business. One strategic move is to bring PMAP on higher ground. To pave our anticipation, let us welcome our 2021 PMAP President, Lynn Muki.
The vision I offer as PMAP 2021 President is embodied in the call for PMAP on higher ground. This is captured in three aspirations: transform for growth, recreate HR, and uplift people. Our aspirations will become reality as we actualize bringing our association to higher ground. And to achieve these aspirations, I identified 4 core strategy areas. 1, global mindset with a local focus. Globalization is our reality today. Our world has changed dramatically. We have been disrupted, but we have also gained a virtual world where boundaries are falling away. We must therefore think global while we advance HR practices and sustain advocacies in our local communities of service. PMAP will lead in thought leadership, nation building, sustainable advocacies, government, academe, and industry partnerships. As we do this, we will find ourselves able to reinvent HR. We will lead in educating about and supporting innovations in people management. We will seek to expand the HR ecosystem while championing people first in the triple bottom line of organization performance. We will seek to support advances in technology for people, which will help improve the quality of work life. As we do this, I am sure we will find that we are able to invigorate our members. We will empower you through our advisory services, enrich your businesses and personal networks through continuing education and facilitating friendships that will enhance your life. Many of us have found lifelong friends through our PMAP fellowships and events, and that leads to us becoming an association that nurtures humanity. PMAP will affirm the essence of our shared humanity and build an environment of achievement anchored on this inspiring vision. We will recognize our diversity and seek to be inclusive, looking forward together with hope as we create a better future. Together, we must be courageously agile, acting with courage and passion for growth, excellence, and service. PMAP on higher ground would also inspire our internal dynamics. In the way we work together, it will be our guide for our thoughts and be a constant criteria for action. This ideal is so much needed today. It's apt for our challenging times, powerful if we can bring it to life, and relevant as we seek to rebuild better, stronger together. I hope you will join me and the 2021 Board of Trustees in making this vision happen. Your participation will make a difference, and you, together with us, can be a catalyst for bringing PMAP on higher ground. Our action points need all of us to be willing to serve in our various committees. We have our engagement committee, membership committee, the chapters, leadership development, government and industrial relations, people manager on-cam, branding and marketing, ways and means, IT, CSR, media, CEO collaboration, research, our upcoming annual conference, the JPMAP, as well as academe industry collaboration, and more. Please connect with the board trustees, committee chairpersons, and our professional staff. We are blessed to be guided by our COPA advisor, Attorney Josephus B. Jimenez, who was with us during our planning sessions for the committee programs for the year. We need each one of you because we need insightful and committed champions who will move each of our action points forward. As I always say, together we can bring PMAP on higher ground. We are one PMAP, and we have 3 strategic initiatives together with our senior leaders that will lead us in our transformation. I have humbly invited our senior leaders in the Council of Presidential Advisors and the Philippine Society of Fellows to join hands and provide their wisdom and expertise so that, number 1, we may update the PMAP Constitution and bylaws. This is highly relevant and critical so that we may move forward with a fresh set of guides in our Constitution and bylaws that will inform our decisions and actions. This project will be led by our past President Ramon Sigismundo, supported by Sonny Coloma, Attorney Rico de Guzman, Oscar Contreras, and Mr. Orlando Zerilla. Second, we will revisit True North. We need to reaffirm our directions in the post-COVID world. This project will be led by past President Grace Zata, supported by Attorney Pilar Almira, Barbie Atienza, Jerry Plana, Art Florentine, Bong Estero, Nika Norlin, Noli Payos, and Michelle Garcia. Our third strategic project is the revamp of the PMAP Awards program. As we seek to continue to uplift people, we will advance sound people management through recognition using our awards program. We need to update our criteria as well as our mechanics, putting online a lot of our processes. This project will be led by past President Ed Soriano, supported by Mr. Oscar Contreras, Art Florentine, and our Executive Director, past President Rene Henner. I appeal to you, our members and friends, to share your time and input to these transformation leaders as we consult and collaborate across our membership. 2021 is our year to recover and rebuild. Better, stronger. I am confident that by the end of this year, we will see PMAP on higher ground. We will find ourselves together able to transform for growth, recreating HR and uplifting people. We can do this. Walk this journey with me, I ask each one of you, and let's enjoy our fellowship in service for PMAP. Thank you very much.
We are with you, President Lin. We are one with you in creating an environment of achievement. I believe you are all with us too. Choosing the higher ground is uplifting people, the simplest way to inspire them. Looking for what is best in them is the same way as paving what is possible for them. Right, Trusty Joe? All right. So this really happens to a live show. Okay. So now, ladies and gentlemen, as we are going to go to the next segment, which is the letter P, Perk Your Heart, I would like to welcome Cecile.
Thank you, Jack. And now it's time for some heart to heart talk. This is Cecile for Perk Your Heart. In today's session, we will be joined by three inspiring personalities: Ms. Josette Mercedes Salona, President of Health Check Clinic and Diagnostic Center, and our 2020 PMAP CDO President and PMAP Trustee for Mindanao; Ms. Grace Iligan, President and COO of Cebu General Services Incorporated, and our 2020 PMAP Cebu President. Also joining us is Ms. Mirasol Chu, VP for HR and Admin at the Davao Doctors Hospital, and our 2020 PMAP Davao President. And today they're here to talk about the gifts of 2020. Now, I know 2020 wasn't exactly the best year for most of us, myself included, but our guests have found in 2020 blessings that not only gave them the strength, courage, and grit to survive, but to thrive amidst the trials and tribulations, and to welcome 2021 with grateful and hopeful hearts.
Hi! Aside from being able to serve PMAP CDO as chapter president and trustee for Mindanao, another gift I most cherish this 2020 is time. I was able to spend time with people that matters most to me, my family, my sisters, and my barkada. Because of the pandemic and the use of the internet, I was able to get in touch with them in real time. I get to know how they are doing, and I even say prayers with my sisters every day. Someone said, no amount of money or success can take the place of time spent with people that matters most. I truly agree. Thank you, 2020.
Hi, this is Grace of PMAP Cebu. And the best gift that I received for year 2020 was the quality time. Quality time with my family and quality time with God. This is something that I usually struggle because I'm always busy with my career. So, more often than not, I will sacrifice my time with my family. So, because of the lockdown, I really able to make up with them. And another best gift that I have for year 2020 was the gift of friendship because it was my first year to serve PMAP as the chapter president, and it was indeed a very challenging year. But because of genuine friends who really stand by my side, who really reach out, what they can help, how they can contribute, what they can really do for the organization, and it really lightens the load. So it was a test of friendship also. So, and I'm blessed to have that gift that I have the genuine friends and also wisdom because there are so many things in this life that we usually took for granted, and because of the pandemic we really appreciate it. I appreciate many things that we don't even value so much before the pandemic. I think those are few gifts to mention on top of gift of help, of course, and protection to all the family, to all our family members for 2020. Thank you.
Well, 2020 has been complained by many as a nightmare with the onset of a global pandemic that led to a series of lockdowns, social distancing, panic buying of alcohol and sanitizers, masks and face shields becoming a fashion trend, a lot more other unimaginable experiences. I personally considered it as a great year for PMAP Davao. It was during this time that we became more agile, more innovative, and more synergized than ever before. With the changes brought by the pandemic, the organization was left with no choice but to move with agility in order to survive this rapidly changing and turbulent situation that we are in. The year 2020 also activated the organization to become more innovative, joining the rest of the world in making full use of digital technologies as a coping tool during this time of uncertainty. Synergy among companies was also strengthened to yield a more productive PMAP Davao. A stronger working relationship with local government units and NGOs were established that paved way for new initiatives to rise. I'm just truly grateful that despite all the present challenges, PMAP Davao was able to put into action the slogan, Be Sharp. I am more than proud to say that 2020 had nourished us to be steward of people thriving for organizational sustainability, happy to lead and serve, accountable for people first culture, ready to adopt digitally driven transformations, and passionate in the promotion of professional development. And I would like to thank all the amazing and ever supportive people behind the implementation of all PMAP Davao 2020 projects and programs. No amount of words could possibly express how forever grateful I am to be blessed with such an amazing team during my chapter presidency. To my fellow board, you are part of the wonderful gifts that I have received in 2020, a year in which I was so blessed with the gifts of optimism, hope, confidence, and actions. Let me share this inspiring message from Mr. Manny Pangilinan. Optimism leads to hope, hope gives confidence, and confidence inspires actions. And I believe this is how PMAP Davao survived in 2020. We're all filled with optimism that eventually led us to put things into action. I'm very hopeful that 2021 will also be the same. So here's to a new year of another optimism, hope, confidence, and action. Mabuhay PMAP.
Thank you so much, Miss Josette, Miss Grace, and Miss Mirasol. Your sharings of the joys of 2020 for you um, has given us also hope and strength and reminds us always of the gift of family, barcadas, and the people around us. And how wonderful it is for us to have the connectivity, to love together, live together, work and pray together. And of course, yes, 2020 has pushed us to higher grounds, forcing our organizations, ourselves, our families to evolve and to progress towards something that's more agile, more resilient, stronger, and better. Thank you so much, everybody. And back to you, Miss Jo.
Thank you so much, Cecil. Cecil is the People and OD consultant from Mancap HR Consulting, and I agree. It was not an easy 2020, but we had a lot of guests for 2020. So, all right. So, just a recap: we had 4 segments. We had People Watch. We got to know our board of trustees on a more personal level. We learned a lot about the vaccine efficacy and effectiveness, and we heard from Miss Lynn, her vision for 2020. And then we looked back on 2020 on the learnings and the gifts of 2020. At this time, we are launching the 58th annual conference for the People Management Association of the Philippines. Watch this video.
I know you know. You've seen it, experienced it, affected by it. Of course, it's hard. But this is an invitation to change it, to bounce back, to feel the inspiration. Masyado ka nang apektado para tumigil pa. Ngayon, oras na para sa mas mataas na antas ng pagbabalik at pagbabago. The hashtag, business as usual. Oo naman, aangat ka, aangat tayo. The 58th PMAP Annual Conference. Angat, leading people to higher ground. Be the soul of change. Be the pusher of encouragement. Be the fuel of moving forward. Angat, leading people to higher ground. The 58th PMAP Annual Conference. Dahil mas personal na ang trabaho ngayon.
There you go. We are so excited. Watch out for more details. We will be sharing with you how, when you can register for the 58 PMAP conference. And this time we're inviting you to our February edition that will be on February 19 for another exciting 1-hour show where we will get to know the Council of Presidential Advisors, or our COPA. Then we will talk about the must on employment issues and gender, anticipate on innovative healthcare responses. We will continue the COVID-19 discussion. And because it's February, for our Perk Your Heart, we will go up close and very personal on office romance. We would love to hear your feedback. Please email Mackie, and her email address is here. Where is that? Then we are also open to sponsors, either a segment sponsor or an episode sponsor. And Mackie is your point of contact. Check this out for her email address. Do let us know how we can collaborate together for our HR leaders. At this point, let us welcome back our host for today. Okay, so, hi, Gilbert. All right, Cecil. There's Gilbert. Hello, Gilbert. Now, these are our segment for this afternoon.
This has been Gilbert.
This is Cece, and thank you very much for joining us. See you again next time.
This is Jacqueline Louie from Davao. Daghang salamat in joining us and excited to see you again on the February episode.
And then my name is Joanne, your host for this month's episode of People Manager on Camp. We hope that this episode was helpful, especially to those of you who have watched. A big thank you for our viewers and listeners, to our sponsors, and of course to PMAP. Stay everyone until our next episode. See you. Bye.
I know you know. You've seen it, experienced it, affected by it. Of course, it's hard. But this is an invitation to change it, to bounce back, to feel the inspiration. Masyado ka nang apektado para tumigil pa. Ngayon, oras na para sa mas mataas na antas ng pagbabalik at pagbabago. The hashtag, business as usual. Oo naman, aangat ka, aangat tayo. The 58th PMAP Annual Conference. Angat, leading people to higher ground. Be the soul of change. Be the pusher of encouragement. Be the fuel of moving forward. Angat, leading people to higher ground. The 58th PMAP Annual Conference. Dahil mas personal na ang trabaho ngayon.